What's really good, my people? Welcome into No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick with me as always. This is week 2 of after post-summer break.
Yeah.
KD had to spice it up a little bit. It was getting a little dry on the NBA rumor mill. The rumor streets were a little dry. So KD had to spice it up for us. Told Josiah, look, this is what you got to do. We're going to talk about KD. Is he bullying the Nets right now? What's the final outcome? What should be the outcome? Is he right? Is he wrong? Is he soft for trying to get out of there for the ultimatum? We'll talk about all that. Little NFL roundup. Big Nick the Quick. I'm tired of talking about Deshaun Watson. I told him, like, yo, look, do we have to talk about Deshaun Watson? He's like, yeah, I got to get some things off my chest. So we'll touch on Deshaun Watson, the rest of the NFL stuff going on around the league. And then we want to close it out with something fun. We got some rappers. Nick the Quick said we've hit a breaking point.
Too much.
Nick the Quick said we've hit a breaking point. The hoopers and the athletes rapping has hit fever pitch. So we're gonna talk about that, and then we're gonna close it out. Also, there was a story I read I thought was interesting. I never heard this. Someone did something very drastic to avoid getting trouble at work. Stay locked for that. We'll bring that up towards the end of the show, and then me and Nick will talk about some drastic stuff that we've done. But hey, man, stay locked with us. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. We're here.
Now look at my really. Oh, so that's how you're gonna play it. You gonna do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that, and it became personal with me.
Big Nick the Quick, what's happening?
How we feeling?
Good, man. You already know. Live from New York City at the moment.
Live from the Apple.
Live from the Big Apple, Brooklyn, New York. You know.
Check it out.
Yeah. So we're here, man. A lot going on. Moving is moving.
Always fun.
Always a lot.
It's a blast.
Always expensive. Always fun. You know the deal. So we've been pretty busy over here. I went 3-0 on my first show of season 2 last night. Shout out.
Wait, question: Did you take any of them in real life?
Yeah. I took 2 of the 3.
Okay.
I feel bad saying this. So that my 3 bets last night were Yankees Mariners over 7.5. I got it at 7.5 and it went to 8.
Okay.
Easy W, 9-4 Yankees. I then took the Orioles plus 1.5 on the run line, minus 130. Easy W. They came out was 3-0 in the first. And of course, the only one I didn't take was my third bet on the show was the Dallas Wings WNBA team total over 82.5. So I laid off the WNBA, but I did take the baseball. I feel bad saying that, but that's what it was.
Okay. At least you kept it honest, man. Taking 2 out of 3 is not bad. You're not out there lying. You're not out there lying to the people.
Yeah, no, I always. Well, this is the thing, right? Like depending on how it's structured or what we're talking about, we got to put out picks.
You got to put out picks.
There's not always a game that I love or wanna wager on, but it's something I lean towards and I like. But there's a difference between lean and an actual wager. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
To win that, you could lean, but did you lean all the way to the window?
Did you lean to the window? Yeah, exactly. Right.
Exactly. So, all right, let's get into it. Kevin Durant comes out yesterday afternoon. It's either them or me. Steve Nash has got to go. Marks has got to go. Or I'm going. What do you think? What are the thoughts? Is it his time to act up, essentially? Because he was kind of quiet throughout this whole situation, right? We had the Kyrie thing go on. He supported Kyrie, stood in his lane, showed up every day to work, got buckets, did what he had to do. The James thing happens. James leaves. He doesn't say too much. He goes about his business, continues to show up, and tries to get W's for the Brooklyn Nets, excuse me. Well, is he just kind of fed up and is like, hey, man, actually, if these guys are going to be around, I don't want to be here. I'm too late in my career to deal with this type of stuff.
I think he put in a trade request 6 weeks ago, right? That was clear. He told them 6 weeks ago, I need to get out of here. I want to go somewhere else. I'm sick of this situation. And I told you during the year, I'm like, hey, Steve Nash is avoiding a lot of flack, right? Because of all the other noise around the Brooklyn Nets, Steve Nash is avoiding a lot of flack for not really knowing what he's doing as a coach. Even watching that team was not pleasing to watch, even when the guys were there. They got swept in the first round of the playoffs. Yeah, I get it was to the eventual Eastern Conference champions, but still, they didn't win a single playoff game. It's been a disaster. He never had any control of the Kyrie situation at all. And I think people kind of took it for granted, like, oh, KD's cool. Kyrie's his boy. He's not going to say anything, woo, woo, woo. But if you're Kevin Durant and you're, what, 31, 32 years old at this point, you know that you're in that last phase of your career to really win another title, however you want to go about and do it. And he's looking at this situation and saying, hey, Kyrie might be my man's, but I'm not attaching myself to this dude for the next 4 years. He's completely unreliable. So he goes to them and says, hey, just get me out of here, right? Like, this thing isn't working. It's not what I thought it would be. I'm not going to go all crazy about it, but I'm going to make it known that I want to get traded.
By the way, let me really quick before you go on. Trade requests don't go away in my eyes. Like, as soon as someone says, I want to be traded, and then it might lose steam on the internet or on television. It's not being talked about. Yeah. But like a perfect example is Russell Wilson. He wanted to get out of Seattle
get out of here.
16 months ago.
Hey, I don't want to be traded, but here's a list of teams I want to go to.
Yes,
that was the best move ever.
So like when people, when guys bring up trade, like I want to be traded, and then it kind of loses steam. It's like they still there was a time where he felt it needed to be said and verbalized that I don't want to be here, and that doesn't go away.
Right, unless you're posturing for a new deal, right? Like I know Kareem Hunt asked for a trade. Obviously, Debo asked for a trade a few weeks ago, but those guys were trying to get paid. That was basically pay me or else, right? But like to your point, Wilson, Durant, these guys that are under contract, especially Durant, he's the first year of his extension. So he's not trying to get a new deal. He actually wants out of there. And I think he was cool about it, didn't really say shit. But then over the next 6 weeks, it's, oh, they might do this, they might do that. And it's like, y'all still haven't made a move. I need to get out of here. Training camp starts in a month. You know what I mean? Like a month and a half. I need to find out where I'm going. What's the deal, man? I told you guys what I want to do. I told you the places that I'd like to go, what kind of situation I want to be in. I'm going to be accommodating, but now it is what it is. So it gets to the point yesterday where he goes and meets with Joe Tsai, and he's like, look, this is the issue, right? Because there's been a lot of talk like, oh, could the Nets just bring him back and to have this thing play out through the season? And Durant's like, I'm not going for that. I'm not some young up-and-comer. I'm Kevin Durant. You're not going to jerk me and dangle me around for the season for the highest bidder. So he's like, look, this is what it is. I don't fuck with Steve Nash, even though apparently I wanted him here when they got rid of Kenny Atkinson. Steve Nash was supposed to be Durant's guy from the Warriors. And I don't fuck with Sean Marks. The Nash shit to me is pretty straightforward. I don't think he respects him as a coach. For Marks as a GM, maybe he didn't like how shit was handled last year. Usually if you got an issue with the GM, it's behind the scenes shit. Maybe you were promised something. You were told shit would get squared away. Maybe he didn't like how they handled the Kyrie situation. Who knows? But he's made it clear at this point and now putting it out there through the media that he wants to be traded, right? And now the owner's like, hey, well, I got the back of my front office and my coaching staff. All right, cool, then trade me. What are we doing here? And if they're waiting to get some mega offer, they have no leverage. When the player has now made it known twice that he wants to get out of there, you're not going to get some Godfather offer from under the table that because it's public. You know what I mean? There's only going to be 4 or 5 teams he's going to want to go to, right? And those teams are good teams, and they're not going to give up everything to get him. So the best he can hope for is just a solid return at this point. Like I think they thought that they were going to put KD on the market and they were going to get a Rudy Gobert type deal.
I think I do. I appreciate KD going straight to Joe though.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, look.
He's not gonna go to Sean Marks and be like, hey, you gotta quit.
We're on the same. No, I mean, we're on the same. Like, let's. I'm not gonna go through the media and mention a whole bunch of shit. Like he went to the source, the guy that's really calling the shots, and he was like, this is what, if you want me here, this is what needs to happen. I think that the Steve Nash thing is
knowing that he wouldn't do that either. Knowing that he wouldn't do that.
Oh, you think that's the play?
Yeah, for sure.
Hold on, because I think
Because
Steve
how does
Nash
Josiah
situation-
look? How does Josiah look if he turns around and fires Nash and Marks today?
that he wants to keep it one of the best players in the world on his team. That's what it looks like.
But what did Sy come out and say? He said that the biggest issue they've had the last couple of years is essentially they weren't in control. They lost control of everything. The inmates were running the asylum. So if you turn around and you fire Nash and Marks, you're really telling, hey, Durant, this is you. This is the Brooklyn Durants. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Alibaba money, all the money I got, none of that shit matters. You're in charge now.
Interesting. So
now
you're saying KD playing chess.
Match. Yes.
Saying, I know he can't. I want to get out of Brooklyn, but I don't want to. I also want it to be known where I have an out where you could have kept me. I could have stayed. Like this is what could have happened, and I would have stayed.
He's trying to bully. Yeah, he's not going to bully Josiah. Because again, if you look at everything the Nets came out and said after the last couple of years, the last press conference they had is like, yo, we need to get back control of this shit. You got Kyrie talking about we can coach the team together and lead the franchise together after the season that they had. Josiah sees that he's like, yo, I'm the owner of the Brooklyn Nets. This is my show. And also, if you're Josiah, it's like, look, bringing back Durant. We've had Durant the last 2 years and we haven't done shit. So what are we going to do? Have another circus for another year? Or is it just time to just wash my hands clean of this? I think that's where Sy is at. I think KD knows that. So he's just putting it out there. He's like, look, do this or else. And he knows he's not going to do that. He knows he's not going to turn around and fire these guys tomorrow. He looks weak at that point.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get back to my point on Steve Nash. I think the Steve Nash situation is easily explained. KD and Kyrie did want him in town coaching the squad. He got there. They didn't really like what they were seeing. And now it's a new year, new day. Pack up, get him up out of here. That's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Like he could want him and still he could have wanted him 12 months ago and then now wants him gone. Like that could all be true. That's an interesting. So let me ask you this: what do you do? Because I'll tell you what I would do
if I'm Josiah.
If you're Josiah,
I mean, you can get into hardball and call his bluff and trade him to the best pack, trade him to the highest bidder if you want to. If Utah comes out and gives you some of those Gobert picks for him, you could do that. It's at that point, will KD show up? You know what I mean? He's under contract.
When has he never not shown up?
Exactly. That's my point then. So if you trade him to Utah, if you trade him to Sacramento, you know what I mean? Because they're coming with picks. Like, could you do that?
So
would you do that?
So let me.
Because what else are you gonna do? If not that, you're looking at Milwaukee, you're looking at Boston, you're looking at the Lakers, you're looking at the Clippers. There's like five. You're looking at the six, or you're looking at 5 or 6 different teams that you could have them with. But because of some of the contract issues, remember you can't trade Ben Simmons to a bunch of different teams, or you can't bring back certain players if Ben Simmons is on your roster because of this weird contract situation. You can only have one designated whatever contract on your roster, so you can't bring certain players to play with Simmons if he's on the Nets because of the NBA's rules.
In what capacity, though? So you're saying Josiah should pick Marks and Nash just purely off saving face?
I don't even think it's picking Marks and Nash as much as it's taking back control of your franchise. You're not gonna capitulate
because
to
I'm going to tell you this. Because I'm going to tell you this, Nash not the guy at the head coaching position.
Absolutely not.
So that he got to go anyway.
He's going to go anyways. Yes, you'll end up firing him in 6 months.
So, exactly. So why not move? Why not go ahead, swallow your pride, keep KD, and then go and get a different coach?
Optics. It looks like Josiah that at that point bent over for KD. But I'm just telling you, there's a billionaire.
This is what I mean. You're a billionaire.
It's a different mentality.
You want to win? Well, no.
He's not getting pushed around by KD.
Listen. You're speaking for Josiah. I'm talking about like if you were in Josiah's shoes.
If I was in Josiah's,
you would say, "Oh, I'm not going to get bullied, so I'll move KD and then fire Steve Nash in 6 months." So then you're saying lose the coach and probably the GM and KD.
If I was Josiah, first off, I would have fired everybody after the season.
Sure.
I would have ended this whole thing and said I need a clean slate. And if KD asks for a trade after that, that's fine. I'm just cleaning house. So if I'm Josiah, I'm cleaning house, period. KD, Kyrie, Steve, Sean, everybody's gone. They're all gone. Kyrie is absolutely gone. Wow. I'll trade Kyrie for a fucking ham sandwich at this point in time. I want him out of the building. I want him out of the city. I want him out of the borough.
This all roots to Kyrie.
It all roots to Kyrie, dude. He is rotten. Like he He's fucking. I don't know if there's ever been an athlete as toxic as Kyrie Irving on your basketball franchise. Like he really is. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think that
it
all
is
starts.
tough.
It all starts. But I think because of that, because the feelings are hurt, nobody trusts each other. And if I'm Cy, I ran successful businesses. This ain't it. Sometimes we just got to reset. We're still in Brooklyn. People are still going to want to come here. We can kind of retool this thing. We're not going to win a championship next year anyways. Let's be real. We're not going to win a championship next year anyways. There are 3 or 4 teams in the East that are better than us. We just got swept. They didn't even put up a fight. I got a 25-year-old player who doesn't want to play. I got Kyrie. I got a coach who doesn't know what he's doing. Like, yeah, I would just reset the entire thing. If I'm Cy, that's what I'm doing. I'm not going to be like, okay, let me change this and let me just, fire Nash and Marks and hope it can work with
like
KD.
a solid, respected head coach fixes a lot of this stuff?
With Kyrie on the roster?
Yeah.
No. I don't think anything fixes Kyrie on the roster.
But the difference, I guess, this year coming in is Kyrie, the COVID stuff is not a thing. That's not going to be an issue.
What's the next issue?
That's true.
He has a new issue. What's the next issue with them? I mean, this COVID is the latest in a string of issues. Like, he has had issues since his last year in Cleveland. Ever since they won that championship, Kyrie has had issues. As soon as he won the championship, he started acting up.
Yeah. I think part of you is like, Joe Tsai's a billionaire. He's like, man, I don't got to deal with this.
I don't got to deal with this shit.
And this is a bunch of bullshit here. I'm not even to go ahead and pack up and do whatever we got to do.
And it's not like I'm looking at my Eastern Conference Finals team. You know what I'm saying? Some team that got taken out by Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals, or some team that made it to the championship, or even some team that made it to the second round. We just got swept. The season was a nightmare. We're in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. It makes my franchise look incompetent. It looks like the inmates are running the asylum, and I got to get back control. And here's the thing. KD, you just said it yourself. Trade requests don't go away. So 6 weeks ago, you asked to be traded. I fired Marks and Nash. And who's to say that 6 weeks from now, something else makes you unhappy? Or you just look at it again and say, I actually don't want to be here. You get to camp, you look around, you see that your starting point guard is fucking Bruce Brown, and you're like, nah, I don't think I want to be here anymore.
Hey, shout out Bruce, though. He played well last year.
And now I really have no trade leverage, because this is now the third time that KD has asked for a trade. You understand? It's like, we go forward and he asks for another trade. Teams are gonna be like, yeah, I'll give you 2 second rounders because this guy needs to get out of town. You have no leverage. Now you're not getting anything. I think the longer you wait, the less leverage you have. Like, that's
always the case.
This isn't like the Niners holding on to Garoppolo and waiting for an injury, right? This is like a guy you need to move. You have to move KD. I'm surprised they didn't move him before the draft. I would have moved him before the draft, and you got to refresh. If he doesn't want to be there, he doesn't want to be there. Sean says it all the time. Dude, a guy doesn't want to be there, he doesn't want to be there.
If he doesn't want to be there, he doesn't want to be there.
Doesn't want to be there. You say it all the time. Doesn't want to be there. Nothing you can do about it. Doesn't want to be there.
I'm shocked that everything you're saying, though, is leaning move KD instead of listen to what he's saying and go get a
I am listening to what he's saying. He's told me twice he wants to be traded.
Yeah, but
that's all he said.
Yes, but I think the source of that is he's not liking how shit's being run by Marks, and then Nash is not the guy to coach. I think it's very clear that he wants a new GM and a new coach, and to refresh.
I don't think so.
And to refresh in that way.
I think he's painting him into a corner because he knows that he will not give into that.
Yeah, I think
he's pretty much saying, you have to trade me because I know you won't fire Nash and Marks. He's calling his bluff. He won't do it. I'm challenging you to do something. You're not going to do it, so I'm putting more pressure on you to trade people. That's that, or to trade me.
Okay, so then what happens with Kyrie here then?
That wasn't a meeting. If the meeting was, hey, let's meet and I want to sit down and air out my grievances, there wouldn't have been a trade demand attached to it. It was he reiterated his trade request and then told him, maybe I'll stay if you do this. It wasn't like, hey, let's clear the air. I want to sit down and talk to you guys and talk about how we go moving forward. And then it comes out that he doesn't like Marks
we weren't
and Nash.
sitting in the room. It's from the report from Shams and the rest of the gang was, hey, we don't know the tone of it. It was either get a new coach and GM or I don't want to be here. I'm confident. I really think that if they went and got a new coach and GM, KD would be fine with it and stay. Now,
speaking of trade requests,
it gets interesting. It gets interesting if KD and these guys start hand selecting a coach every year. They don't like him after the first year, and they want him
That's
fired.
my point. So you know what I mean?
So,
like at what point you can't put it back in the bottle once you do that, right? Like you can't. Like you're kind of like you've already conceded to these guys the last few years. Kenny Atkinson takes a team of tryhards to the playoffs. Remember that D'Angelo Russell team and all those guys had no business being in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Kyrie gets there. It's like, I don't like this guy. Durant's like, I don't like this guy. So they fire Atkinson, by who all accounts is a good coach.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, hey, KD worked with Nash. This is his guy. Let's bring him in. Okay, cool. We'll go get Nash, right? They bring in Nash. Now KD doesn't like him. So what happens with the next guy? And again, what happens if 3 months down the line,
so much stuff has happened in the middle. It's kind of crazy.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, if you're Josiah, so much has happened with this situation. There's nothing about it that gives you faith. There's nothing about this situation that tells me we can fix this. Sometimes you got to walk away from a bad hand. It's a bad hand.
Man, that's tough.
No matter what the cards look like. You got six aces of spades, but they're not. It doesn't matter. It ain't no flush. You understand what I'm saying? Like
I do understand what you're saying.
Cards are a different size. They're from a different deck. They're not bicycle. Like whatever it is, bro. Like this shit's not working. We have to move on. That's my point. If I'm Josiah, I was at that point a while ago.
Yeah, you have been, and I think the big thing, like you said, that I say all the time, a guy that doesn't want to be there doesn't want to be there, and you do not want the guy that doesn't want to be there around.
100%, bro.
If he doesn't want to be there, you don't want him around, especially a guy of that stature. It never, ever works out, and that's exactly why the Browns may have gotten fleeced on the Baker Mayfield thing, but they just washed their hands with it and moved on because you didn't want that cloud around the franchise
1,000%.
And the new regime going forward. So
it's like a relationship, man. If you want out, you want out, right? And no matter what magical makeup sex night you had that might make it feel good for another week, in a week, those same problems that you had a week ago are going to come right back up. You understand? So you can't keep trying to recreate the honeymoon phase. Like it's over with. It's done. Move on. Because the longer you drag it out, the less you get in return. And right now, your number one focus should be to maximize the return on KD. But you have to be realistic. You're not going to get dollar for dollar. You're not going to get dollar for 85 cents. You know what I'm saying? Like you might have to understand we're getting 70 cents on the dollar on a KD trade, but the peace of mind and the clarity and the ability to move forward is what we actually need.
And it's you talk about 75 cents, 80 cents on the dollar. It's even tougher because you already know KD's only going to 3 or 4 places. Max.
Exactly. And
maybe,
that's why,
maybe 2 to 3 teams.
It's not like the Gobert deal where you can just dangle him around the league and wait for some dumb team to come up and be like, hey, yeah, we'll take him. Gobert has no leverage. KD, no one's going to trade for KD if you don't want to be there. You understand? So it's like, there's 4 or 5 teams. They're all contenders. So they don't have anything really of value for you. Maybe some future picks. I don't know. That's all you can really do.
I'm interested to see how all this blowback from this type of stuff, from the Kyrie thing, this new collective bargaining agreement is going to be a nightmare.
Owners are going to whack these guys.
Owners are going to try to kill these dudes.
Yeah, kill them. Miss games, okay, cool. Load management, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Kyrie, Kawhi, these guys that don't play,
And I'm not, the structure of the way it is now, you got to get your bread now, right? Like for the guys that are in the league. But man, this stuff coming up.
Well, and I'm usually pro player. I'm very pro player.
I'm always pro player.
A lot of this shit is out of control, right? If I'm an owner and I'm looking at the Kyrie situation, being like, wait, we paid him for a lot of the time here. He essentially held the franchise. Like these guys
for a lot of the time.
Yeah,
they paid him all the time. Yeah.
So and you look at the Ben Simmons situation, like these type guys, like something's not right. We're not going to sit here and pay Ben Simmons $40 million and not play so he can show up to practice with a cell phone in his pocket. You understand what I'm saying? Like something's got to give. It's one thing about player empowerment. It's another thing when guys are like, yeah, you know what? Hey, mental health. See you guys. Like that's not it. The owners are going to come back for theirs. Believe that.
Nah, no question. So
believe that.
That'll be no question.
Believe that.
That'll be interesting when that comes around. So we'll see. Stay locked on the KD saga because at the end of the day, he still is a top 3 player in the NBA. Absolutely. It is what it is. You can say what you want. Those guys have leverage, and we'll see where he ends up. All right, let's move over to the NFL.
As we've been on air.
Yeah.
Speaking of requests, in a 2-part note. So you know you write the notes on the iPhone.
Oh man, I can't wait to hear this. Who is this?
I got a 2-part note from Roquan Smith.
I love it.
Requesting a trade from the Bears.
He went the Kyler
All
Murray
you know
route.
is, unfortunately, the new front office regime doesn't value me here. They've refused to negotiate in good faith. Every step of this journey has been take it or leave it. The deal sent to me is one that would be bad for myself and our entire linebacker market if I signed it. I've been trying to get.
Oh, I like that. I like that angle.
That's great. I
the
love it.
entire linebacker market.
And it's bigger than me.
Yeah, it's bigger than me. I love that.
I've been trying to get something done that's fair since April, but their focus has been trying to take advantage of me. Man, I don't see a path back to the organization I truly love. I've officially requested a trade.
Woo. He said that. I don't see a path.
Hey, I dreamed of playing like Wilbur Marshall's. I dreamed of playing like Wilbur Marshall, Singletary, Briggs, Urlacher, Butkus. Boy.
Ooh, boy.
Legends of the Hall. Legends of the Hall.
Wait, who wrote this?
Roquan on the iPhone note.
Wow. You know you got an editor, but you know you got a publisher on that.
Dog, my man even signed it and double spaced it on the iPhone note. Sincerely, Roquan Smith.
Love it.
Love it. It's perfect. It's perfectly written too. To the city of Chicago and all the Bears fans worldwide.
Hey, so in this 2-part note, Roquan just brought up the rest of the linebackers in the NFL. This would be a bad deal if I signed this for the rest of my people.
I want to be
people
a Bears
that play
legend.
my position.
Briggs.
I want to be a Bears legend like Marshall, Singletary. He brings in the old school, tells them that the front office no longer values me and what I can do, which he knows is not going to sit right with the fans because he's by far the best defensive player on the team.
Not even close. Since he showed up in town.
This is really well done. And the contract has been in question since the end of last year. It's not like this has been 6 months, 7 months or whatever it is.
He said since April. Yeah. He's been trying to get his deal done since April. Since he could negotiate.
This is like a pure spot where I'm on Roquan's side every day.
Why are you hardballing when you have a QB on a rookie deal? Or where does he spend the money on? Maybe you could have taken some of that $10 million you gave to Nick Foles and fucking given some of that to Rowe.
Yeah, of course.
There's 7 paragraphs in this letter.
Hey, I'm ready. I love this. Hold on.
Walking these hallways the past 4 years, you can feel the spirit. You feel the pressure to live up to that timeless history and that great legacy.
That's what he said?
Yeah. I'm a homegrown Bear.
He is.
However, playing the linebacker position, you never imagine getting drafted in the top 10 by the Chicago Bears. So he's just giving the fans everything. I love the organization. This is storied. Oh, you guys are great. I want to be a Bear for life.
Yeah, I love it.
I was drafted top 10 by the Chicago Bears. But this new regime, they don't value me. Hey,
they don't value me.
They don't value me.
Apparently, they don't like me like that.
Hey, I love y'all. They don't love me.
Exactly right. All right, so I just pulled up the top paid linebackers in the NFL. Yeah. Colts linebacker Darius Leonard, 19.7. He's a monster. Fred Warner. These are all. First of all, by the way, these are sack guys.
Yeah.
Jets linebacker.
Leonard a sack guy though. Leonard's got more like a traditional
middle. You're right. Yeah, you're actually right. You're right. So is okay. Number 3, Jets linebacker CJ Mosley, 17 million.
Yeah.
Deion Jones, Shaq Thompson, Jerome Baker, 12.5 mil.
Yeah, exactly.
So once you get past CJ Mosley, who is a beast, shout out Nick Saban. He's making 17 per. My man Roquan wants to be right there.
Roquan been the best defensive player since he showed up with the Bears.
And if you remember,
lights out.
And if you remember, Roquan had issues with signing his rookie deal too.
Yeah, like every Bears draft pick does. Yeah. Every Bears draft pick has issues. This is a consistent. We just had an issue with our second round guy. They just signed him. Yeah, it's a Bears issue. But I don't understand why you're hardballing with Roquan. You just moved off the Mac money. You'll probably move off the Quinn money. Shout out your boy Quinn.
Yeah, you better move off the Quinn money.
Rican. Yeah, he got 18 sacks last 20 sacks. Yeah,
you
move that
better
man.
move off
yeah. That will not happen again.
Yeah.
Why would you not pay Roquan? He's young. He's a linebacker. He plays a premium position in the NFL. He produces. He's healthy. I don't get it. But it's Bears
you start the reset with him.
Hey, but you know what? This is the shit that Lamar needs to do, by the way.
Lamar
needs to call Roquan's editor and be like, hold on, let me get one of those.
No, fact.
How much you pay for that?
that was really well done.
To the city of Baltimore and Ravens fans worldwide.
Hey, I got some info on I don't want to be the anonymous source guy, but we'll talk. I got some Lamar info for you here after we finish up this Roquan talk. But
yeah. This is not a good look.
Roquan Smith is the guy that Ryan Poles should want to start the new regime with.
Yeah.
It's his first, keep your best player on D that has no off the field issues, plays hard, is a sideline to sideline linebacker that wants to be here.
Kicks it on the boat with Bella Danger, all types of shit, man.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yo, Roquan was on the boat with the Bella Danger
kicking it tough.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
likes a good time, man. Shout out Roquan.
Yeah, give my man a deal, dog.
Come on, man. What's wrong with y'all?
I actually saw. I think I told you this. I saw Roquan in Wicker Park getting a bagel. I was at Bros Bagel. Peace Pizza.
Yeah.
Right on Fire, by the way. Go over to
sure.
Peace Pizza if you've never been over there. They had Peace Bagels right next door, and I saw him at the bagel spot. A lot smaller than I realized. Not that big. But yeah, man, he's been nothing but elite for us.
Solid, yeah.
And it's a shame that it has come to that. Let's see how the Bears. If you're the Bear, how do you think they respond? How would you respond?
The Bears don't play these games. You know that. You watch the Bears too long. They don't get into the media war. They will never get into the media war.
So they're not even gonna comment.
No, fuck no. They'll give you the same comment the Bears have been giving you on everything for years. They're not gonna comment. Nothing. We value Roquan. We've negotiated in good faith. That's it.
Yeah.
Period. They're not gonna give him 7 paragraphs.
Keep the other things in house, and
you probably get Ted Phillips out there give you a statement.
Yeah, man, that's a shame because those are the guys you want on this rebuild because this is a full-blown rebuild.
100%. Yeah, yeah, man. The Bears are focused on Arlington Heights. That's their only focus in life right now.
Yeah.
All right, and by the way, I don't know if you were gone when they put out those the
Lightfoot. I saw them. The Lightfoot.
First off, dog, did you see? It didn't fix any problem. You still can't park down there. And hey, Sean and I will tell you, we went to a brand new stadium last year. Can't compete. Hey, you can't compete. You just can't. Unless you can build something like that, it's not happening, man. I haven't been to Dallas yet. I haven't been to SoFi, but I've been to Allegiant, and I understand that these new stadiums that are essentially these massive amusement parks, and you didn't necessarily have to do that in Vegas because Vegas is an amusement park, but I know the deal. You know what it is at SoFi. I remember when they built Glendale in Arizona. Like, you're building these stadiums way out because you build out the entire area. It becomes a whole thing. You can't do that at Soldier Field. You can't park. You can't get into the fucking place. Even on the video, on the pictures that they had, they showed a bottleneck of people trying to walk into the arena, which is the same problem you have at Soldier Field, right? Yeah. Like the death tunnel that they have right now. Yeah. It's the same fucking thing.
That's only with 55, 60,000 people. It's not even people. 85,000 people.
Yeah, you need 85,000
is probably people. The number that you should be at, right?
Yeah,
that is the issue. And there's no
parking. It's not
convenient
about Soldier.
To get there. Forget about even the parking. It's just there's nowhere to kick it before.
No, $100
You're either tailgating or you are like down the street on Michigan where there's 2 places, but
you're far.
A 35-minute walk to the building. Like it's
you could build a whole thing. When I first heard, I was like, oh, keep the Bears in Chicago. But then I started looking at these new places and I'm like, no, I want a building like that.
I would love them to knock down that building and put another building there. It's just not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. We're going to be in Arlington Heights in a couple of years.
You'll
be there. I'll be there. We'll all be there.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Gladly.
Exactly. Right. So, okay, you want to hear some little info I heard on Lamar Jackson. I was talking to a
Do we
few
got
people.
like the red sirens, man? Breaking news
I
here.
was talking to a few people who know a few people.
Okay.
Apparently, this is
how reliable are these sources without telling us too much?
Trustworthy. I wouldn't bring it up if I didn't think it had some validity to it. Right. The tone and what's going on in Baltimore, from what I understand, and how it was explained to me, was Lamar's kind of a nuisance. He doesn't want to eat. They have to DoorDash food. He won't eat what the nutritionist gives him. He's not super locked in. He's kind of and they keep it in-house, but he's tough to deal with. And they are kind of to the point where it's like, show up or not. That's do whatever you need to do. But we're not going to get, for as much as we put up with and as much as we bent over backwards for you and creating the offense around you and doing everything. Because this is the other thing.
By the way, this is piping hot.
Yeah, super hot. And if
no one has this.
Yeah, and if the GM was the issue, I think that they could try to figure something out about just Lamar. This is the other thing. Lamar Jackson, I'm told, doesn't want to be used in the way in the manner he's being used.
Kind of like Debo.
Yes. Taking too many hits. He's running the ball too much. I'm a quarterback, and I don't want to be running the ball as much as I am. I don't. That wasn't told to me verbatim, but it was this all like the offense. I'm not being used how I want to be used, apparently. But then why wouldn't they just figure out a way to get a new offensive coordinator or figure out a different way of the offense? The only reason exactly. That's true too. You're winning a lot of games. I'm not like about 75%
of the games he started.
Right? Yeah. I think the other thing too is Lamar. How do I say this? Lamar. I just think at the end of the day, the whole situation is so weird. And that's the only reason I take a lot of what I was being told as fact, because what else? Like, what is going on?
Unless he's asking
what's
for
happening?
Some astronomical amount of money.
That's like, but like that's it's like, but that report would come out. Nick, that report would come out. The report.
But no report has come out. No report has come out.
But that's what I mean, because it's almost like nothing's happening.
I'm not even gonna lie. When this is the most substance that I watch Get Up First Take every single day. This is the most substance I've gotten on the Lamar Jackson story in the past year. Right. Yeah, so wherever you got this from, like, we probably need to chop this up and throw it out there, because I have never heard this. And to your point, like, yeah, it would get out there, right? Remember the Kyler Murray shit? As soon as he asked for a new deal, you heard he texts his girlfriend at halftime. Right. He plays video games. So if that's the case, and I get like the Ravens are kind of like the Steelers and where you don't bash the player publicly. But if that's true, right, and you sound very confident, that's wild to me.
If Lamar,
it seems like there's a lot more issues than money.
If Lamar,
they don't want to pay him. It's what that sounds like.
That's what it sounds like.
That they're fine moving on.
You're gonna try to put our feet to the fire for all the stuff that we've done and kind of what we deal with on
and what we protect you from.
What? Yeah, exactly. And the kind of guy. Allegedly, this is what I was told, that how he moves around in the facility. His diet isn't very good. He's not taking care of his body like they would like him to on the diet side.
I've never heard this about a bad thing about Lamar as a person ever.
Yeah, no, it's not him being bad.
You know what I mean, though, but like this type stuff. Yeah,
the seriousness, because and the only reason I took it, I took it so I like really contemplated it and I'm bringing it here is because I can't figure out what else is going on.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Like, what's happening, right? So,
yeah. But is that how they're negotiating? Are they like, when he's in there, I want $300 million? They're like, you don't work hard. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
how does
yeah.
that?
See, I don't.
How is that playing out though?
Yeah,
Like,
that's a good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that. That's a good question. But I think if he was in there asking for an astronomical amount of money, 335 million, all guaranteed, I think that would come out, and they'd be like, "This is the reason we don't have a deal is because Lamar is asking us for 335 million, all guaranteed, and we can't give him that." So that's where what I was told. I took that and believed a lot of it because I just can't see what else is going on. And it's like, okay, play the rest. And like we've talked about before, I think Lamar is kind of like open to doing open. He seems like he's okay with just showing up and playing. Like that's my
crazy.
gut feeling, right?
Yeah,
like
I already told you I would not be in Maryland.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be anywhere. I wouldn't even be in a state that starts with the letter M. I would be so far fucking away. You would have every idea where I'm at.
Yeah, and we talked about the hold in thing and all that.
Yeah,
but
no.
Yeah,
that's wild. I wouldn't think that. Everything about Lamar, but again, you don't know these guys. All you know is what they put out there. And again, with the Ravens being a first-class organization that doesn't throw players under the bus,
first-class organization.
Like you look at the Cardinals next to the Ravens, like the Cardinals literally threw Murray under the bus, rolled it back over, came back, rolled it over again, got a new driver, rolled over a third time. You haven't heard anything about this, right? So if this is true, doesn't take care of himself, isn't as dedicated, or for whatever reasons, which is ironically a lot of things they say. A lot of things they always say about the black quarterback, right? It's the typical black quarterback
that's true
recipe.
Too.
So I take that with a grain of salt. But again, they haven't, you know what I mean? So whatever. Then that's interesting. And then that presents a whole different angle of it as to why they don't want to give him this money. But if I'm them, I'm also like, well, shit. If this is the case and he still has won 75% of his starts and we're in the playoffs every year, despite not having a ton of talent on the offensive side of the ball and always having injuries, and we're clearly better and he's won MVPs for us, then still pay him.
I mean, I think he's
done more than Kyler Murray has, and Kyler Murray got paid. Kyler Murray, they barely won games.
I agree. I think he needs to get paid. We've been screaming that for almost.
I find that interesting.
Literally almost a 12-month calendar year.
Sean Schefter over here. This is wild,
just what I heard.
Piping hot.
This is just
can't even touch the screen.
This is just what I was told. So
okay.
There's something there's
obviously something there. You don't just hear that. No one makes that up.
Yeah, there's something about there's something there about how he's moving around in the facility. The big thing that jumped out to me was the nutrition thing. They're having the DoorDash thing was verbatim, that like he gets different food from other because he won't eat the food that's in the facility.
Well, see, that one isn't. I'm not as worried. I would actually say that's the one that's kind of like whatever. Like I think there's only so many. Like you want everybody to be like Brady, you know what I mean? But like let's be real, a lot of these guys aren't. You know what I mean? They try their best, but a lot of these guys aren't crazy. You want your Bradys and LeBrons, but a lot of these dudes eat like shit. We know that.
Exactly. Yeah. No.
But to me, it would be like the lack of focus. If he's difficult in the building, which you really don't want from a quarterback, because the quarterback is supposed to be the leader in the building at the very least. That type of shit to me is more troubling than Lamar likes cheeseburgers.
And I think there's a different thing too of like being a really good locker room guy. Everybody loves you as a teammate versus how you want your quarterback to be rocking around the facility on a daily basis and being a leader. Those are two different things. So
especially when your franchise's identity is Lamar Jackson, right? Like Lamar Jackson's not a bystander on the Baltimore Ravens. He is the franchise. He is your identity. So if he's carrying himself in a way that you don't agree with, then you're essentially condoning that because he is the face of your franchise, which could have bigger issues. So yeah, that's interesting, man. I'd be surprised. I want to see if this comes out.
And it's one of those things where I think the one of the best organizations in the NFL, right? Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers, the Patriots. Yep. Like I think that stuff doesn't get out of their building, and they always protect their guys until it's like, all right, we're not doing this anymore.
I mean, you saw it with the Patriots with the whole there was so much bad shit going on between Brady and Belichick, I'm convinced, over the last few years, and you just never heard it. Like those guys didn't like each other. Let's keep it real.
Yeah.
Did not like each other.
That's a fact.
It's a fact. You saw when Brady came back to play them this year, it was a quick like, fuck you. You won 7 Super Bowls for me, but fuck off. You know, like that's what it was. So those guys, but you never heard it. If that was the Bears, if that was one of these terrible organizations, it'd be all over the place. So
No question. Let me ask you this. Let's move to because I was talking about this yesterday as well before we went on MSG, man. Check me out, 5:30 Eastern, MSG Network, the betting exchange. I'll be there today. The Panthers have to start Baker Mayfield.
I don't know, that rookie looks decent.
Because you can't go from Baker to Darnold and then back to Baker.
Yeah. Could you imagine the locker room if you start Darnold over Baker?
That's what I mean.
The Baker is the most unhumble person in the face of the earth.
I guess I should say this. If you're going to play Darnold, you have to start him and then go to Baker. You can't go Baker to Darnold and then go back.
Fair.
Especially with how Baker Mayfield is and his personality and how personally he takes stuff. That's not going to go over really well. The interesting dynamic here is Matt Rule's on the hot seat.
Very.
So you know what happens when a coach is on the hot seat? They start doing any and all to save their job.
Starting Nick Foles.
Exactly. So I'm interested. The reason I brought that up is because I was just thinking about that whole dynamic. And I think Baker's a better quarterback by kind of a lot.
By a wide margin, in my opinion.
Yes. So I don't really get what the big discussion is. Sam Darnold he must be a really good guy. Like,
love him. Never seen it.
People love him.
I've watched the film. We talk about watching the film. I've yet to see anything on the film on Darnold that inspires me at all. Like, at all. When I watch Darnold, he's turning the ball over. He's not effective, and he's getting every excuse in the book. Oh, it's the Jets' problem. Oh, it's the Panthers' problem. Oh, he has no one to throw to. Guy's just not good. It's okay. If I'm the Panthers and I'm Rule, I think you go Baker. And if it really goes bad, like, look, I'd almost go, I'm not kidding, to Matt Corral, the rookie. Fuck it. Like, what are you going to do at this point? I mean, I guess you're trying to win ball games. I guess if you're trying to win ball games, and these guys obviously give you a better chance to win than the rookie. But like, I don't see how you can trot Darnold back out there. Like, to me, he's just terrible. Like, by the end of the year, you were starting Cam Newton.
Shout out Cam.
Is he on the roster still? Where's Cam?
Cam is out of the league.
Cam was playing in Carolina last year. Yeah, that's
Cam's
wild.
out of the league 100% right now.
Cam's just gone.
Unfortunately. Shout out Cam Newton, man.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I think they have to start Baker and they just rock with it that way and figure out a way to, I don't know, move Darnold, whatever. But the outlier here is the Matt Rule situation where
and they gave him all that money.
Yeah, and he's gonna. And didn't they give Rule like some crazy deal, like 7-year deal?
It was like 6 years, $42 million.
Yeah,
it was like
7-year
NBA
deal,
contract.
Like yeah. So
full no trade clause.
Yeah, I think that's also interesting, and I just think Baker. And I'll say this: I think Baker's going to win the job. It's not like give Baker the job. I think Baker's going to win the job. Baker's a better quarterback, and I think you'll see that. And you'll see a lot of flashes of him being really solid. I actually laughed. I was looking at the Comeback Player of the Year award. Like, I was looking at the futures market. And Baker Mayfield's on the Comeback Player of the Year. He's way down the list. But I'm like, Comeback Player of the Year, he played all year. Like, right. I know he was injured, but if you played all season, he's
not coming back from too much. Yeah,
he's coming back from a trash season, I guess. Like,
is
that what we're doing?
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get into this. Hold on, I gotta pull up the clip. But I sent Big Nick the Quick this IG post I saw about Bill Belichick and an undrafted, like, I don't know if he was an undrafted rookie, but he was a guy trying to make the team for the Patriots, and he did some outlandish shit so he wouldn't be the guy that missed the meeting. And it made me think and wanted to ask Nick about, is there anything he's done that has to avoid getting in to have a legitimate excuse out here. Here's the clip of here, I'll show you really quick. This is the IG post that I saw. Hold on. My bad, guys. See this? Share screen. Can you see that, Nick?
No.
Okay, hold on. There it is. Okay. So that is it reads former Patriot crashed car to avoid being cut. He said, I'm going to hit this car. It's better to pay the insurance and embarrass myself by being late for a Patriots team meeting. And Brandon LaFell responded on the tweet and said, you ain't lying. So is there anything, first of all, what do you think about that?
I think that's hilarious. When I saw that a couple days ago, I was like, that is really funny, but also really smart. I mean, look, this is some guy fighting for his NFL life, right? Like, he doesn't show up to that. If he's late to that meeting, you're cooked.
It's over.
It's over with.
It's over with.
I was like, not even come in the building. Like, it's
Yeah.
over with. Like,
So
he stops you in the parking lot. Like, nah, it's over with.
Yeah. Crash your joint into the wall.
Yeah.
And that's them going to pick up buddy that crashed right now. But yeah, crash the whip, pay the deductible, and then pay the increase, and then have a legitimate reason on why you're late to the meeting. And I was
just hope your insurance company's not reading that right now, because that's definitely insurance fraud. But
yeah.
You know what I mean? If I'm his claim, I'm like, wait, you did what?
Yeah.
Hold on, fam.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it made me think of this. It made me think of this clip I saw on Twitter about like you got to tell your girl the whole, like, if you ever fall asleep and you don't make it home, and you can't go with like, I turned my phone off. Like, your girl not gonna go for that. He said, he said, I had to go.
I go get arrested.
He said, I just went to the hospital. He said, check myself in. He said, I wasn't feeling good. It's like, you got to tell the whole story.
You got to have something extravagant.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to think of something that I've done.
See, I outside of like,
anything.
Like, I think like in college, man, I think I forged a plane ticket, and I told a teacher that like my grandma died. So I can get out of a test.
So you get out of a test or something?
Yeah, but like never anything crazy. You know what? This is along different lines, but you know what I think of? There's actually a story you told me, which is still to this day one of the funniest stories I've ever heard. It's not necessarily getting out of something, but it's going around the rules.
Yeah.
Your laptop story in college.
I'll tell that story right now, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, look. So that's a perfect
funniest
example.
story I've ever heard.
Okay, so I went to we were at school, you know, your classic. I think I was a freshman or a sophomore. Southern Illinois University before I went out to ASU.
So Lukey's.
Yeah. And I had a laptop. And this was back in the day. I had like an HP. It was like very whatever. It was like your standard laptop. And the Kim Kardashian tape had come out with Ray J. So people were trying to that was like the thing. And this is still back in the day.
Kim K superstar.
Kim K. This is like before Pornhub. This is before like any of that. You know what I'm saying? So you would like have to download videos if you were trying to go. If you was trying to go in that direction, you would get links. You would download stuff, or you would go to some wild ass site and try to download it, right? And I was like, okay, this looks, and you would have to like judge if it looked credible or not, or like if it looked super sus or not. We're aging ourselves right here, Nick, but that was what it was, right? And
it was rough pre
the Pornhub wasn't out, so this is what it was. And I thought I found like a website that looked legitimate, and I clicked on one of the links, like download Ray J Kim Kardashian tape here. Like I clicked on it, and as soon as I clicked on it, 600 windows jumped up on my screen. It was, remember back in the day when the window used to like bounce off the other side, and it was like bouncing back and forth.
And the little red X message started popping up. And
everything, bro. I Control Alt Delete wasn't working. Like the whole thing was jammed up, right? So I'm like, oh man, like I think I
used to close the computer just thinking it'd be okay. You open it back up, like
closed it, unplugged it, let it die. Tried to plug it back in, turn it back on. It had a virus. I was toast, right? And I'm toast. But I was like, oh, I have a protection plan I bought on my computer, like just in case something happened, I could go get it, I could go get it fixed, whatever. So I walk into Best Buy and I go up to the Geek Squad and I'm shout out the Geek Squad. I go to the Geek Squad and I'm like, yo, my computer, I got a virus. Here's my protection plan. You know what I'm saying? Like, here it is. Here's all my paperwork. I kept it. Here's the receipt, whatever. And the guy grabs it. He goes through it and he goes, this doesn't cover viruses or like malware type software issues. I'm like, what do you mean? I talked to the guy. He said it covers. I got finessed on the anything that happens. You bring it in and we'll take care of it. And he's like, no, man, this doesn't cover viruses. I'm sorry, whatever. So I'm like, oh. And like, I think what really drove me is like, he was so nonchalant. Like I was just going to buy another computer. Like I had a bunch like, you like, sorry, bro, go get another one type. Like that was his attitude. And I was like, all right. So I'm like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. So I got back in my car. I drove back to my dorm room and I put my laptop in the sink. I turned the sink on and I let the water run on my laptop for like an hour and a half. I went back, did something else. I went and grabbed my laptop. I went back to the same Best Buy, to the same Geek Squad dude, and I put my laptop down on the counter and there was water seeping out of the bottom of it. And I said, and I handed him my and I handed him my whatever, the coverage, the warranty coverage, the protection plan. And I said, I got water damage on my computer. I need it replaced. And this dude looked at me like I was the biggest asshole in the world. And I looked at him like, yeah, figure out what I got to do to get my computer replaced. And it took me like an hour and a half to fill out some paperwork. And they gave me a new computer.
Mans was so hot.
He was so hot. Because he knew, like, what could he couldn't do nothing.
Couldn't do nothing. Yeah,
he couldn't do anything.
Damage, right?
I wish you could have seen how waterlogged this computer was when I walked in. Like, I made sure there was no, it wasn't going to turn on. It wasn't going to do anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I guess that's a good example of just like, y'all are gonna try to game me. No, I gotta try to win this battle.
To this day, that's one of the best stories I've ever heard in my. It pretty much sums you up in a story. It's one of the best things I've ever heard in my entire life.
You gotta come on, man. Y'all are trying to finesse. I can't. Hold on, man.
Hey, shout out our guy Jason in the chat. We hit Roquan at like a 26, 27 minute mark. So run it back. You can hear our thoughts on the Roquan love letter to the Bears.
Dallas Godfrey was good. Yeah. So man, we touched on Roquan. We touched on a couple different things. NFL. Yeah. So that's it for us, man. You got anything else before we get out of here?
Can I rant real quick?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Give me three. Give me two different rants. I'm just give 3 minutes on each. Again, we're not going to talk crazy about Deshaun. It's been covered ad nauseum. You can find all the Deshaun articles you want, and regardless of how you feel about the suspension, what should happen to him, should he play or not, you've heard our thoughts on it before. I thought he was going to get a full year. My issue is this, and I've been vocal about this. The NFL, once again, cannot get out of its own way when it comes to player discipline. So the NFL, long history with issues with player discipline, going back to Ray Rice. They suspend him for 2 games. Video comes out, they suspend him indefinitely, right? You got the Greg Hardy situation. You got Deflategate, which was a debacle. All these different things that led the NFL to the conclusion of we can no longer be in charge of the player discipline. We have to outsource it to someone that we trust. So they hire this Sue Robinson. She's a former federal judge, obviously very credible. She takes over the discipline process. Her first big case is the Deshaun Watson case, right? So nothing light. Like her first big case is one of the biggest ones that happens in the NFL. We go through this entire process. All they're telling us is, hey, it's an independent review. She takes care of it. We're not doing anything that has to do with this. You don't even hear the word appeal during the whole entire thing, right? Process takes forever. We finally come to last week. Deshaun Watson is handed the 6-game suspension. Immediately after that, the NFL appeals. And that appeal goes through none other than Roger Goodell, which was the problem from the very beginning. So essentially, you give us all this lip service about we're going to do better. We're going to bring in something independent. Roger Goodell has too many conflicts of interest because his job is to further advance the business interests of the league. So he cannot make an impartial decision on something like this, which has been proven over and over and over and over and over again, right? The very first case that you have with this new process, you immediately disagree with it and now end up appealing it, which pretty much shits on this process going forward, right? This process that you made such a big deal about. Immediately after her first ruling, you instantly go against it, and now it's going to be caught up in this lengthy appeal situation and be dragged out forever. They just can't get anything right. From a PR perspective, a league that has so much money, so much power, so much influence cannot get out of their own way. Again, regardless of whether or not you agree with the suspension or not, the length of it, whatever, we were supposed to trust this process. We were told that this is the process that's going to take us forward, and this is how the NFL is going to handle discipline going forward. And you shit on it on your first opportunity. And it appeals to who? Roger Goodell. So we're right back where we started. Right back where we started. I understand he's outsourcing it now to another guy, right, who obviously has the league's interest at heart. He's this guy. I heard him described as not quite independent, which means he's getting a big old bag from the league. To rule in his favor, Deshaun's gonna you're muted, and Deshaun's gonna end up being suspended for the full year.
Yeah, he gets to pick. Goodell gets to pick the next person. Yeah,
right. So what was the point of having this process? What was the point of going through all this, giving us all this lip service, saying you're going to do better, but we end up right back here where Roger Goodell's in charge of it? To me, it's just another instance of the NFL not being able to get out of their own way when it comes to player discipline. And again, I'm not saying that I agree with the 6 games or I think it should have been shorter or longer. I'm just saying that they talked all this about the process, and her ruling stood for 12 hours before the NFL came in and appealed it.
Yeah.
That was my whole thing. I didn't even know you could appeal that as the NFL.
It was the blowback of you got to protect the shield. The blowback was too much, so they're trying to. To be honest, I think he still just taxed on another couple of games, and then they're going to try to find a bunch of money.
They want the money. And the Browns were tricked. And the Browns might have an issue because the Browns structured his contract in a way that if you suspend him for the whole year, it only costs him $1 million. So that's when we were talking the other day. That's how the league is going to come back around to him. So
yeah, man.
The whole thing is just a mess. We're not going to get too deep on it, but I just had to. It's just, to me, the NFL, love the sport, hate the league.
Yeah, it's very reactionary.
Very.
No type of structure like preemptive. None. It's just like, oh, this got more. People are a little more upset than I realized that they would be. Like, we got to do something type of thing.
You tried to be proactive, and you still ended up being reactive.
Yes, exactly.
So.
All right. We're going to leave it there, man. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. Sean Little, Big Nick the Quick, Nick Harvey on the other end as always. Make sure you subscribe everywhere, man. Check us out across the board, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, everywhere that you listen to your pods. I'm going to get this up ASAP for the audio listeners. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace.